Next week, Ade, we're actually using a theme that one of our communities suggested, which is perfectionism. And as always, I'm kind of curious to know where that took you, what thoughts you have around that theme.
Yeah, it's such a loaded theme for me, actually. And the first thing that came to mind was how perfectionism is almost like this prison that I'm in. It sort of shapes how I show up a lot of the time because in my mind, there's always this fear of getting it wrong, this fear of making a mistake. So anything less than for me speaks to imperfect, speaks to not good enough, speaks to broken. And so I'm very conscious that very often in my actions, there is this voice that's going, be perfect, be perfect, be perfect, get it right, don't make a mistake, don't fall. Every syllable from my mouth has got to be perfect. What I'm wearing has got to be perfect. And sometimes it's at the forefront of my mind, sometimes it's in the background, but it's always there. And I think a lot of it goes back to childhood. In secondary school, I did really badly in my exams. And so this whole notion of failure is there because I take my report card home. My parents will be like, "You're stupid. You're not intelligent," and I think it kind of just stuck. Actually, I learned that imperfection was there within my field, and somehow along the line, I got to see it as part of my identity. And so a lot of the work I've been doing probably less so now, but it's been there. A lot of the work has been trying to be quote perfect, trying to be quote perfect, so that when I'm perfect, I'll be loved, I'll be accepted, I'll be welcomed into the fold. So it's a deep wound for me, and from time to time that wound bleeds, and from time to time it's steady, but it is still a wound nonetheless. What about for yourself, Darren?
I'm just absorbing what you're saying. It's so harsh, isn't it? What occurs to me is such a harsh way to live. I just think perfectionism, it's so binary. It's that dynamic of good or bad, right or wrong. It's like there's no there's no softness around it. It's a harsh binary, got to be this way. And just like you, I think it bubbles up all the time. At the moment, I'm near the sea, and going on the beach is always a moment of it's a challenge around perfectionism because you take your clothes off and I'm sitting there in my shorts and I'm looking around and I'm matching to that perfect ideal. And actually, one of the great things about a beach as well, after that initial vulnerability of thinking I'm not perfect and I'm going to show my body, is wandering down the beach and realizing that the majority of us are all imperfect. It's a leveler in some ways, except that I'm kind of near the gay beach, and you get a higher proportion of people who have really worked hard at the perfect body. So there's all these bodies around. I'm not thinking, okay, well, I'm just none of those things. So it's quite confronting, but very useful at the same time because then I have to sit with, well, actually, what am I? I'm not that. I'm not perfect. And how can I honor who I am? And just one other thought I had around this when it comes to looks, I think that bubble burst quite early on because I remember my mom once, we were on holiday and she was going in for a competition, a beauty competition in a hotel, right? And we were there with Auntie Brenda, and Auntie Brenda had the blonde hair. She was like, her and her husband were like, the George Clooney and whoever else, whoever his wife's called, I forget her name now. They were like that. And my mom sat me and my brother down, and I was 7 years of age, and she said, now, Mummy's going to go in this competition, but I want you to know Mummy's not going to win. She's going to come second because Auntie Brenda's going to win. So she was preparing us for that. And she accepted that. And she went on the competition. Auntie Brenda came first and my mum came second. And I think I kind of took that on board thinking it's okay to be second when it comes to looks. And so the looks part has been relatively easy, but there are other elements like, I think perfect when I was a child was my parents, which was straight, and I wasn't straight. Perfect was intelligence. Perfect was affluence, and I had none of those things. Well, I didn't think I had enough of those things. So some of those themes are really alive for me, and others less so. But it is there, like you say, it's hovering in the background of every moment of my day, I think.
Yeah. Wow. Sounds like we're going to have another very rich Quest Wednesday experience. I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah, I'll see you there.